Here's what's happening on this side of the globe. U.S. Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly meets with border officials in San Diego. Fearful of President Trump's immigration ban, asylum seekers head to Canada. Planned Parenthood supporters and opponents rally across the United States. First Lady Melania Trump and Ake Abe of Japan tour the Japanese garden. Plus, Iranian archers arrive in Las Vegas with President Trump's immigration order on hold. You're watching Eagle News, Washington, D.C. I am Eliza Gonzalez Manglikmot. U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security John Kelly visited the San Isidro port of entry on the Mexico-California border, continuing his tour of the international border in the southwestern United States.
I think of particular note, all along the border is the relationship not only the governors have with the officials in Mexico, very, very positive relationship, but the men and women of law enforcement, DHS, as well as the local officials, sheriffs and big city police chiefs, the relationship they have with the Mexicans. And I, as the Secretary of DHS, have already met with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Mexico this week. Spoke with the Minister of Interior, kind of my counterpart in Mexico. I had a very, very good relationship when I was in Southern Command, when I was on active duty with the senior military of Mexico. And I certainly want to not only, I want to increase the relationship that is already a good one between my department and the men and women that serve the border and the great people of Mexico.
Kelly had said during his confirmation hearing that a barrier like the wall that President Donald Trump wants to build won't be enough to stop the flow of drugs and migrants in the United States. He said that his tour has showed him that border agents are already doing a good job protecting the physical border, but that more needs to be done.
Heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamine, all of it, almost 100% of it that's consumed in the United States comes up through the southwest border. And the profits are so immense that they can pay men to dig a tunnel 75, 80 feet down, 10 feet a day, millions of dollars to try to get under it. So that tells me that the barrier and the people that patrol it are actually very, very effective.
Kelly also met with state and local law enforcement officials at the border crossing in Nogales, Arizona, where he spoke with law enforcement officials about the proposed border wall, a hallmark of Trump's presidential campaign. Asylum seekers in the United States, in the wake of a divisive U.S. presidential campaign, brave sub-zero temperatures and personal injury on trek to Canada in hope of safe asylum. Steph Manangan with more.
2 weeks after U.S. President Donald Trump ordered a 90-day immigration ban on citizens from Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Yemen, and a 120-day halt to all refugees, asylum seekers in growing numbers flocked to Canada.
In the Minneapolis-St. Paul, Minnesota area, Somali community leaders and activists say they've seen a growing number of asylum seekers attempting to sneak into Canada at all cost. Omar Jamal of the Somali community of Minnesota says his primary concern is tracking down those who try to head north with little resources to make sure they've survived.
Figure out what happened and where are they? Are they still alive? You know, what happened to them?
Refugees seeking asylum in Canada have been making the trek along the U.S.-Canada border between the state of North Dakota and the Canadian province of Manitoba. CBC interviewed one man who wished to remain anonymous, who helped smuggle asylum seekers into Canada.
We drive in North Dakota, it's getting bad, and they say, just draw me to the border. Just draw me to the border. And I'm like, come on, if I drop you to the border, you're going to die.
Manitoba's Welcome Place Refugee Agency helped 91 claimants between November 1 and January 25, more than the agency normally sees in a year. Most braved the freezing winter to walk into Canada. The 9th District Court of Appeals upheld a temporary restraining order by a U.S. judge of President Donald Trump's executive order that blocked nationwide the implementation of key parts of the travel ban, has provided a reprieve for refugees trying to come to the United States. though many migrants still feel unsafe given the uncertainty.
They're doing it, they think it's worth the risk. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it.
President Trump is weighing a new potential revised executive order on immigration, but Canadian advocacy organizations are bracing for a greater influx of asylum seekers, driven in part by the contrast between the ruling Liberal government's acceptance of Syrian refugees in Canada with Trump's anti-foreigner rhetoric. More of these people would enter at border crossings, advocates say, if Canada didn't have a policy of turning many of them away when they do. The 2004 Canada-US Safe Third Country Agreement requires people to apply for asylum in the first of the two countries they arrive in. Advocates argue the agreement inadvertently encourages people to dangerously sneak into Canada and make a claim rather than be rebuffed at the border. Jamal says the Canadian government should step up to prevent unnecessary hardship.
Canadian government will take some urgent steps to address these people's plight and concern and a very serious issue. I hope we can get their attention to do something about this, not watch people suffer.
Officials says Canada will offer temporary residency to any travelers stranded by U.S. President Donald Trump's orders, temporarily barring people from 7 Muslim-majority countries. For Eagle News, I am Steph Manningan, and I am one with 25.
Thank you, Steph. Coming up, Planned Parenthood supporters and opponents rally across the United States. First Lady Melania Trump and Ake Abe of Japan tour the Japanese garden. Plus, Iranian archers arrive in Las Vegas with President Trump's immigration order on hold. Eagle News, Washington, D.C. will be right back. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Anti-abortion groups called demonstrations at more than 200 Planned Parenthood locations throughout the United States to urge Congress and President Donald Trump to strip the women's health provider of federal funding. In New York, a dozen protesters turned out to demand the defunding of Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood supporters, in turn, have organized 150 counter-demonstrations outside politicians' offices and government buildings. In St. Paul, Minnesota, hundreds turned out carrying pink signs that says, "I stand with Planned Parenthood." A handful of protesters staged a counter-protest with white placards demanding the Women's Health Organization be stripped of federal funding. Anti-abortion activists said they were energized by the election of Republican Trump, who selected their longtime ally Mike Pence as vice president and nominated conservative jurist Neil Gorsuch to the U.S. Supreme Court. Planned Parenthood, a 100-year-old organization, provides birth control and other women's health services in addition to abortion at 650 health centers, according to its website. Planned Parenthood receives federal funds from Medicaid reimbursements and Title X, a federal program that supports family planning and preventive health services. Planned Parenthood says cutting off those funds would make it more difficult for women to get birth control, pap smears, or testing for sexually transmitted diseases. The United States First Lady Melania Trump and Japan's Ake Abe share a cross-cultural exchange in Palm Beach County, Florida. Christine Mariano with the details.
U.S. First Lady Melania Trump and Ake Abe, wife of Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, toured the Morikami Museum and Japanese gardens in the Delray Beach, located in Palm Beach County, Florida. The two fed koi fish during a tour of the gardens. Melania Trump, as she tossed fish food into the water, said, "There are so many of them. They are so big too." They were led through the grounds by Morikami Park Administrator Bonnie White LeMay. President Donald Trump and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe hit the lakes as the two leaders looked to forge a bond over a round of Gulf diplomacy. The weekend excursion is Trump's first use of his Mar-a-Lago resort to entertain an international leader. For Eagle News, I am Christine Mariano, and I am one with 25.
Thank you, Christine. Up next, Iranian archers arrive in Las Vegas with President Trump's immigration order on hold. Eagle News, Washington, D.C. will be right back. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News, Washington, D.C. A group of Iranian archers are granted last-minute visas to compete in the Indoor Archery World Cup after U.S. President Trump's executive order barring refugees and immigrants from 7 majority Muslim nations was put on hold. Julianne Docena of EBC Las Vegas reports.
An Iranian delegation of 15 archers and their trainers arrived in Las Vegas, Nevada just as President Donald Trump's executive order banning refugees and immigrants from 7 Muslim-majority nations, including Iran, was temporarily put on hold by a court ruling last week. The Iranian archers ages 17 and under competed at the Vegas Shoot archery competition. Bruce Cole, president of the Vegas Shoot, helped secure their visas in concert with the United States Olympic Committee and World Archery. Cole said the competition is regarded as the largest archery tournament in the world, bringing together some 3,485 athletes from 45 countries. The event, also dubbed the Indoor Archery World Cup, was held at the South Point Hotel, which is used for large sporting events. While qualifying rounds for the games began Friday, the Iranian delegation were allowed to catch up before medals were awarded on Sunday. Finalists in the junior division, which includes the Iranian team, received scholarship money ranging from $500 to $1,000. Reporting from the South Point Hotel, I am Julianne Docena for Eagle News, and I am 1 with 25.
Thank you, Julianne. That is today's Eagle News, Washington, D.C. Join us again next time as we bring news that matters to you. Visit our website at eaglenews.ph. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/EagleNewsPH. I am Eliza Gonzalez Manglekmot, always 1 with 25.